particular session, I will just introduce you to some of the salient features of Ayurveda, which helps us also to understand the uniqueness of this particular science, or indirectly, how is it different from the contemporary science. The first and foremost, what we need to understand is that Shastras, we call us for in Sanskrit for science. It's essentially philosophical. It is also spiritual. That is one of the most key aspect of the understanding. Unlike in the Western history, where there was continuous conflict between science and spirituality, we come to know that in fact there was no conflict between science and spirituality in the context of Ayurveda. In fact, they were mutually complementary. So when the text speaks about the purpose of Ayurveda, to give an example, it says that it has got an immediate purpose and it has also an ultimate purpose. Both the purpose comes under one single term called as sukha, or just state of happiness, for an easy translation. And we say that this sukha is of two types. One is temporary, which is immediate. Like we experience a pain, and then physical pain, and we avoid the factors which are responsible for that, and then we take some medicine to cure that pain, or we make changes in our diet and lifestyle, and like that we get relief from the pain. And such a relief and the state of happiness that is induced by the relief of that physical pain is considered to be immediate, but it is temporary, because whenever we resort to anything that is bad, or whenever we are influenced by anything that is bad for our health, we experience the pain, maybe in a different form, in a different place again. So that immediate but temporary provision of a state of happiness is the immediate purpose of life. The second purpose is what is permanent, but what is ultimate. That's also called a sukha, which in a philosophical terms, it is what we call as moksha. So we say that the purpose of studying Ayurveda or practicing Ayurveda or following Ayurveda is one, to get a immediate impact, relief from the pain, or to experience a state of health, happiness, etc. So that we involve in activities that will help us to attain the ultimate state of happiness. At this stage, we only need to understand it theoretically, or just to understand the scope of Ayurveda from a larger perspective. So that's one reason why, as to learn Ayurveda, a student actually have to learn the 6 schools of philosophy. We call it as Shat Darshanas. It's also essential to learn Sanskrit because the texts are written in Sanskrit. So while the language Sanskrit helps us to understand the text in its right sense, having a philosophical background will help us to have a thought process, which is very essential in studying and learning and practicing. There is only one classical definition for the term Ayurveda. Usually, what is popular is that Ayurveda is translated as Ayu as life and Veda as knowledge, and some people call Veda as science. So it's knowledge of life or science of life. That's how it's popularly known. Veda has got a larger meaning, or a deeper meaning, which we don't deal it here, which is more than what could be perceived or inferred. So we don't deal with that. But something that speaks about life, not just about diseases and medicine. That's what we call as but that's exactly the reason why we say that it's not just a medical system, but it is more than that, helping an individual to actualize the life, or to help an individual to have a completeness in life, or a fulfillment in life. Because if you look at any Indian Shastras or any Indian knowledge systems, okay, one of the fundamental purpose of that would be to help an individual to have completeness in life. So there is one saying which says that incompleteness, a sense of incompleteness, is a disease, and it is considered as the only cause for all miseries. So if you look at an individual's life or an individual, that particular individual's purpose of life would be to identify the level of completeness and then opt for the knowledge systems, Ayurveda, yoga, whatever it may be, to help him or her to have completeness or perfection. Uh, that is why Ayurveda, we are not dealing with disease, not just with diseases and medicine, it is dealing with life. This major definition comes in Charaka Samhita. It says that hita hitam sukham dukham ayu tasya hita hitam manancha tachetroptam ayurveda sauchyate. So the words are very significant. It's not something that is speaking about what is good and bad for the body, for the individual. It speaks about what is hita and ahita. This is very crucial, especially when we are dealing with food and nutrition. This is very crucial. This is very important. It says that this is the science which deals with what is hita and ahita. Hita is what is suitable. Ahita is what is unsuitable. Not generally, but specifically for that particular individual. So it's not in terms of good and bad, but in terms of suitability and unsuitability. So when an individual resorts to things which are hita, he or she experiences sukha. When that individual refrain from what is ahita or unsuitable, he or she experiences sukha. When the individual knowingly or unknowingly involves in things which are ahita or unsuitable, he or she experiences dukkha, which is misery or disease. So it's a very commonsensical that the purpose of Ayurveda, when we want to adopt the principles of Ayurveda in life, or when a physician helps an individual to either to maintain health or to regain health, okay, the physician uses this particular tools. What is hita and what is ahita? What is suitable for this individual? What is not suitable for the individual? And help the individual to adopt what is hita, help the individual to avoid what is ahita, and then help the individual to experience sukha. So this is just for the life, and it also speaks about the life not for that particular moment, but the entire span of life. It's a manam that uses the word in the text. That means the entire measurement of right from birth to death. It speaks about interventions that will help the individual to attain this particular um, uh, process of accepting what is suitable and avoiding what is unsuitable, and thus continuously experience sukha. That is the definition. The term life and the term body has got a related meaning in Sanskrit. So both, whether it is ayu, which is the term for life, and or sharira, the term for Sanskrit term for body, in both in a way represents a sort of a flow or something that is very dynamic in nature, continuously in the process of transformation and progression. So when whether we are speaking about life from a philosophical perspective or we are speaking about the body from a medical perspective, we in a way we are speaking about maintaining the processes that are involved, and also ensuring that the individual experiences a body or a life that is dynamic in nature, that is continuously progressing and flowing everything in a positive sense. So this is also very crucial, where whether we are dealing with the disease or whether we are dealing with uh, the spiritual progression of the individual, this processes, this flow, this uninterrupted flow, everything are becomes very very crucial. We we will deal that with that in detail.